In this episode, we are launching my brand new Leadership Academy interview series. Hello and welcome back to the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com. This is episode 481 and I'm Cornelius Fichtner. Thank you so much for joining me. A couple of weeks ago, I launched my new program called the PM PrepCast Leadership Academy Interviews. In this series, I interview 15 renowned leaders from around the world. Here they are. We have an astronaut, a 4-star general, leadership authors, leadership researchers, and also those who bring applied business leadership to the table. This is an experienced group of leaders that allow me and you to look at leadership from 15 different perspectives and apply their expertise to what you and I do every day: lead project teams. You can find all the details at pm-podcast.com/leadership, or just keep watching. Oh, and talking about watching, this is a video episode. So if you're not seeing the video and only getting audio, then please do visit pm-podcast.com/481 to watch. Here we go. Hello, everybody. I am Cornelius Fichtner. Thank you so much for joining me here today for the launch of our Leadership Academy interviews. Here is our agenda. Where are we? Here we go. We have 5 big topics today. An overview. I want to tell you a little bit about the Leadership Academy. Then we'll talk about the guests. Very important. I want to discuss the benefits that you will get out of watching and studying with the Leadership Academy interviews. We'll have an FAQ and a recap at the end. If you are wondering where to find the Leadership Academy, well, then here you go. The Leadership Academy interviews. You can find it at pmprepcast.com/academy. Oh, and by the way, /leadership works as well. So pmprepcast.com/academy, pmprepcast.com/leadership. Both of those work very well. And now let me introduce everything to you. I think the hardest feature to explain from this video series is the curriculum itself. I mean, interview that build leaders, that's a good tagline, but what exactly are you going to get? Frankly, you know, if this were a course about project scope management, right? Hard skills. We could talk about, we're going to talk about the work breakdown structure. We're going to talk about business analysis. We're going to talk about maybe even user stories and how to develop those and how you define your scope right there and then. But those are hard skills, and scope is something that is tangible, whereas leadership is something completely intangible, and it is really difficult, right? Leadership is situational. Leadership is personal, and leadership is primarily a soft skill. There are leadership techniques and approaches and theories, but this course is not about those. Instead, this is an interview-based leadership course that conveys the leadership experience from my guests and explains how you can apply the leadership practices from an astronaut, a 4-star general, a genocide survivor to your projects, right? So that is the curriculum. The lifelong and combined leadership experience of this group of individuals who I interview, and how to apply that in your own leadership situations at work. Let's start at the beginning here. And the beginning is this. From the very beginning, my goal with this course was to help you turn into a change maker in your organization. Someone who can draw from a broad set of experiences and turn that not only into successful change and improvement in your company, but also give you a fulfilling career. And we bring this broad experience to you by giving you access to exclusive and in-depth conversational interviews from these distinguished global leaders in order to learn how to become more than just an effective project leader, but also, yes, that change maker in your organization that I'm talking about here. You'll hear and see project management discussed through the lens of real trailblazers, groundbreakers, and researchers that are part of this series. I have 15 guests on the program, and with each of them, we shine the spotlight on their experience as a leader on the world stage. Because leadership is defined in more than just one way. And in this way, you can then learn to succeed in effective project leadership from the best. There's no manual to becoming a leader because leadership is multifaceted. This means that every industry is unique, and so so are you. So are the approaches that you need to managing your team's efficiency and satisfaction. Yeah, and in this way, the PrepCast Leadership Academy has become a masterclass in project leadership that goes beyond just giving you the usual leadership approaches and technologies and theories and pretty much regurgitating what you can learn from other leadership courses. This is hands-on leadership with 15 experts from around the world. Yeah, once again, here is the link for the Leadership Academy, pmprepcast.com/academy, pmprepcast.com/leadership. I talked a lot about my guests so far. Here they are. Uh, Nice people who joined me on this. Let me introduce 5 of them to you in a little bit more detail. And we start at the top right there, first up, with astronaut Dr. Dave Williams. Yes, he is indeed wearing an astronaut suit in that picture. In this leadership interview, he draws from his experience at NASA as an astronaut, but also as a CEO of a hospital. And he not only recounts many leadership moments, but also masterfully relates why they matter and how project leaders can apply them to become better at what we do. Then next, we have 4-star General Stanley McChrystal from the US Army. In the interview, we examine some of the topics here: teams, risk control factors, how to define them, and how to lead the implementation of risk control factors. We'll talk about vision and mission, always very important in the Army, changing strategies, and very important, communication as a leader. Then we are moving on to Kristen Cox. Kristen is the world's leading authority on how to apply the theory of constraints to government and non-profits. She's also, or was rather also, the former executive director of the Governor's Office of Management and Budget for the state of Utah. And here, she was instrumental in leading a program to bring about 35% savings and improvement across Utah's 20 billion executive branch. Let me repeat that. She implemented a 35% improvement, so reduction in expenses and cost, on a 20 billion program. That is quite an achievement, right? And guess what? She did all of that, even though she is blind. The fact that she is blind hasn't stopped her from doing any and all of that. From her, we move on to Michael Bungay Stanier. He wrote the book, The Coaching Habit, which is the best-selling coaching book of the current century, with nearly 1 million copies sold. And in 2019, he was named the #1 thought leader in coaching. I'll get back to Michael in a little bit. I have a quote of his that's very important here for what we are talking about. From him, we move on The final spotlight, we shine that on Suzanne Matson. In her interview, we focus on project leadership matrix, proactive leadership, feeling the fear of leading, yet doing it anyway, 6 human needs, intuition, leadership values, congruence, leadership scandals leading up, project vision, the fact that the path of the least resistance in leadership is really of no interest to the project leader, team empowerment, and virtual leadership. The list in her interview is about yay long, as you have just heard, and you may be wondering, how do you fit all of that into a single interview? Well, the interview is 84 minutes long. It's actually the longest of all the interviews in this particular series. And what we do is, because it is so long, we also offer each interview in parts, in segments. So you don't have to sit there for 84 minutes. Okay, you could press pause, right? But it's sometimes easier to just say, okay, let me just watch part 1, 2, 3, 4 of this interview. So you get the full interview, full length, if that's what you prefer, or you can also get them in, or you will get them in parts, each of these interviews, except for the one with Tom Peters, because it was only about 37 minutes long. We decided to keep that in a single piece. Yeah, so, but let me just point out a few more people here on the screen. There in the center, that is Dan Pink, a New York Times best-selling author. I already mentioned Tom Peters here on the far right. Again, best-selling author on leadership topics, and he's been doing that his whole career, literally. Second from the top left here, that is Jackie Beretta. She shares with us her leadership experience as a CIO. To the right of her, this gentleman here, the gray hair, just as mine, that is Itai Talgam. He is a conductor. He is a maestro. And with him, we not only go into leadership lessons of leading world-class orchestras around the world and having to adjust to different orchestras, to different teams again and again, but also what he himself learned about leadership from the great Leonard Bernstein. And then just below Jackie here, this is Sergeant Major Jill Johnson, and she shares with us the leadership lessons on coaching and being coached in the armed forces. Right, so there you go, a bit of an overview of who you will be meeting in this leadership series. Let's go back to the dead center here again, to Dan Pink, because there is one reason for that. Our Leadership Academy interviews, they include his book, The Power of Regret. The book is on the Forbes 10 must-read career and leadership books for the current year. We have 120 of those books, so this is kind of a first come, first serve situation. Everybody who buys the Leadership Academy right now will get the book, and once we're done and we've sent all of that out, then there is no more. This is for the US and Canada only, simply because of international shipping of it's a hardcover book that is rather costly there. Okay. Let's see. Yes, after doing all of these interviews with them, one thing became clear to me. Leaders are built and not born. Let me explain this with a question for you. Here, let me see if I can get this right. Businesses are crying out for people who can successfully lead a transformation in their organization. Are you the person to lead that transformation in your organization? That was kind of another starting point, right? Because for too long, leadership in project management has been an elusive trait that not all project managers exhibit. And I want to change that today with the Leadership Academy. It's time to recognize leadership does not come in one shape, one size, right? And because of that, we have designed the PrepCast Leadership Academy as a project management leadership video series specifically designed for you, the project leader. And you may have noticed, I'm not sure how well you can see this here in the back, let me maybe grab it. You may have noticed this piece of paper that I'm standing there, right? It's a printout of what we have gone through before, the ideas, the concepts that we wanted to bring across with the Leadership Academy interviews to you here, right, as the project leaders. So that was very important for us to help you grow in different areas. So after watching this advanced masterclass series in project management and leadership, you should be able, based on what we designed it to do, right? You should be able to win and maintain your team's trust, while at the same time motivating everybody to excel on your project. It'll help you reach shared goals in your organization by inspiring, by engaging, and organizing your team and their responsibilities. You will also be able to accept bigger and more important opportunities to lead projects with higher chances for a promotion or maybe even landing a C-level role. Then we want you to be able to create meaningful and lasting change. And that's in your company, as an innovator of project management and leadership. You're going to be that really a change maker to help your company to do that, create that meaningful and lasting change. And I also want you to grow in order to, and this is important, deliver value to your clients. Here, it doesn't matter whether your client is internal or external, somebody who pays for you to manage a project for them. By providing, top-notch services from an empowered and efficient team that you are leading, right? All of this is hard work, right? This is not just something that you can do this and it just falls out of your sleeve. It takes work to do these kind of things, right? And it takes even more work because we project managers, we have a specific set of challenges that we need to overcome. And here they are. Let's go through them briefly, right? Project leadership, really specific challenges that we have. First of all, the goalpost changes frequently. Stakeholders, suppliers, customers, we learn as the project moves forward and we change the work, the direction changes, right? And everybody improves and refines their positions on the project. And as a leader, you just have to be prepared to go with the flow. Team members often don't work directly for you. So you are leading across a matrix organization, and probably you have virtual team members on your project as well. Then there are daily difficulties, decisions that you have to make and navigate, the really hard decisions, because you've got the unknown to resolve, right? And guess what? Tomorrow morning you come to work and there's a fire somewhere, and you have to respond to that as a leader and help your team put out that fire in a sensible way. We have multilingual and multicultural teams. That adds a totally different dimension, right? And the potential for additional, but often unintentional conflict where you have all the different cultures and languages getting together on a single project. Barely enough time in the day to manage the project, let alone develop everybody or develop yourself as a leader. And of course, then there is always the problem of creating buy-in with stakeholders that don't really seem to be all that supportive, right? So yes, I earlier talked about, the strategies of project leadership, delivery environments, right? Uh, All very different from operational management. And we project managers, we have to be able to do this. if you want to overcome these, if you want to overcome these challenges in project leadership, then the PrepCast Leadership Academy, that is for you. And at this point, I hear you say this here. Yes, 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 Cornelius, this is all good and well, and you're right, but my situation is still very much different. I am unique, I'm individual. I promised I would get back to Michael Bungay-Stamier. So let me answer this question with what he told me. Let's move one forward here, right? Here is what all of them have in common, right? We have a CEO, ex-drug dealer, an astronaut, a four-star general, somebody who's a genocide survivor. They all recognize leadership is not a one-size-fits-all. At the end of my interviews, right, I usually do one thing, and I ask somebody, I ask my interview guest, hey, so what is it? What is it that people should take away from this? Okay. And I want them to summarize for you what the important lessons are, the takeaways, what you should have for leadership. And Michael here, he turned this right around on me, and he brilliantly summarized it by saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, I cannot tell our audience what they are supposed to learn, what they are supposed to take away. Leadership is individual. Leadership is situational. And it is not only very personal to you as a leader, but it also depends on what your team needs at any given point in time. Yeah? So this response of his, it really epitomizes the value that the Leadership Academy has for you as a participant. I can paint a picture, broad strokes, and I can try and explain to you what it is that you're going to learn and take away. You know, the team trust, reaching shared goals, bigger opportunities, meaningful change, delivering value, all of that. But I cannot tell you exactly what it is that you will take away from each and every one of my guests, from each and every one of these interviews. It's a good idea to have a pen and paper ready as you're going through the interviews and make notes for yourself. But what I have done is I have tried and summarized this for you here in a couple of sentences. Here they are. These are all on the website, all 15 of them. Let me just focus on 3 of them. First of all, from General Stanley McChrystal here, I summarize this as I want you to be able to discover the myth that is holding you back from being the leader that you want to be. From the next set of 5 here, I've chosen Suzanne Matson. In her interview, you will learn how self-awareness improves your leadership skills, and you will discover how to make space for others. And in the final set of 5, I've gone all the way to Tom Peters. This was a great interview with Tom. It's only 37 minutes long, but it's the shortest one of the interviews that we have. But it is absolutely amazing. His enthusiasm, the experience, the no nonsense, I almost said no bullshit, no nonsense approach. He does use a couple of swear words during his interviews, but they're nicely placed. His no nonsense approach of just shaking us up and getting his experience, his research across to us and what it takes to be a project leader. That, I think, is what is important about this here. So how to apply his enthusiasm to your own experience. I think this is what you will take away from this interview. Yeah. Excuse me, I went one too far here. So in the end, it all boils down to this here. We did a survey of about 200 project managers and students, and we learned that the central theme when it comes to honing leadership skills in project management is what you see here on the screen. People said inspiration, growth, and team satisfaction, they are critical to my project leadership. This is what I want to achieve as a project leader. I want to convey inspiration, growth, team satisfaction to the people who are working with me. And so we decided to build the PrepCast Leadership Academy in such a way that it allows you to become confident in leading and working with stakeholders from various industries. And whether you are in your first job or ready for an executive role, right? This advanced project management leadership interview series will show you what it really means to position yourself as a project leader. I want you to be able to inspire your stakeholders, help your company grow, and have your team and yourself, important, very important that you yourself also have satisfaction in your job. In the end, the idea is that I want you to learn from each expert interview and take away what is important for you as a project leader so that you can become the project leader that you want to be, not the one that I want you to be. This is your journey, not mine. Can you tell that I'm really enthusiastic about our interviews here? Probably can, right? And I hope that this spark flies over to you as well. So please do stop by at pmprepcast.com/academy, pmprepcast.com/leadership. Either of those two will work. And where you see much of what I explained today and far, far more than that. And now, the frequently asked questions that I have for you. What if I don't have time to watch these lessons in one go? Well, as I have explained previously, we give you not only the full video, 1 hour plus usually, but we also cut them into parts so that you can watch part 1 today, part 2 tomorrow, part 3 the next day, and you can also download them to your mobile device. This is fully podcast compatible. So if you have a podcast app on your phone, you can subscribe to them on your phone, and all the lessons, all the interviews will be on your phone to watch. How will I know if these interviews can help me? Well, let me tell you my story, because I thought I knew all about leadership. I've done interviews with business leaders since 2005, so over almost 20 years of this, right? But this masterclass series is something else. I picked up tips and strategies that I had never considered before. I had plenty of, light bulb moments, aha moments, and to me, frankly, each of these calls was kind of a personal coaching call. I always say, if people ask me, why do you do these interviews? I always say, the person who learns most from these interviews, that's actually me, right? So I'm primarily doing this for myself. And while the Advanced Leadership Series is aimed specifically at project programs, portfolio professionals with 2 and more years of experience, right? Everybody will really take something different away from these interviews. And in doing so, you will learn new ways of approaching and improving your own leadership style. Yeah, but what about this one here? I'm not in a leadership role right now. Is this right for me? The answer is really quite simple. If you are a project manager and you lead projects, or you're in charge of a project rather, you are in a leadership role, right? You can lead at any level of the organization. If you have one other team member on your small mini project, well, you're leading that team member. It is your job to do it right. You probably work in a matrix structure. You have to influence others. You have to manage a team. You have to resolve issues. You have to communicate with others. All of that is leadership. And this series will help you develop your leadership skills, right, within the PM PrepCast Leadership Academy. How long do I have access to this? 18 months of access. We realized that, probably people want to go back again and again and maybe rewatch and relearn things, do it all now in one big go, and then come back in a year and do it again. Obviously, if you download it to your phone, don't even have my phone here. So imagine me holding up my cell phone. If you download everything to your phone, to your podcast, then, it'll be on there. And as long as you don't delete them, you have 36 months of access on your phone. What about PDUs? Yes. The total duration is 17 hours and 45 minutes, which means you receive 17.75 PDUs in the power skills area. PMI renamed the talent triangle. This was formerly called leadership. It is now called power skills, right? Let me be very honest with you. Don't get the Leadership Academy interviews if you only want the PDUs. If it's just, I just need to tick a box. I just need these leadership PDUs because PMA makes me do this. Don't, okay? I have other products. I have the PrepCast for PDUs. I have the PDU podcast that will give you these leadership PDUs. This is a series that will help you become a better leader. If this is your goal, I want to become a better leader. I want to improve my project leadership abilities. Oh yeah, and I do get some PDUs as well. That is the right approach. If you're just saying, no, just give me the PDUs, get another one of our products. This is too heavy. This is too deep to just go tick. I have my 17 PDUs that I need in the leadership area, right? Don't do that. It's not going to help you as much if it's just to tick the PDU box right there. This is about leadership. This is not about PDUs. Next, will I get a transcript? Yes, you will. And the active word here is will. If you log on right today, right now, there is no transcript yet. We only started this week with the transcript. I want to make this something really cool with timestamps. I want to include some screenshots in the transcript as well, so it's easier to connect the transcript to the actual video right there. So over time, these will be added. If you are buying it, say, in 3 to 4 months, they will all be there from the time of this recording. But right now, as you're watching this live, the transcripts are in development there. Yeah, that's it for our FAQ. Here we go once again. You can find the Leadership Academy interviews at pm-prepcast.com/academy or /leadership. Let me give you a recap of what we talked about today. On the left, we have the features. Yes, I have 15 guests. There are 15 interviews in this series. It is 17 hours and 45 minutes in duration, which also means you get the same number of PDUs there. It is all video-based. You can watch it on your mobile device, or you can just log into our learning management system and you can watch it live streaming. There is a free book that goes with it at the moment. We have 120 copies of that free book. As long as we have it, we will ship that to customers in the United States and Canada. But I think more importantly than the features is really what are you going to benefit from? What is it that you're going to take away from it, right? You will build your team's trust. You can reach shared goals. You will be able to get to bigger and more important projects because of that, and meaningful change, implementing meaningful change in your organization. And really, from the very beginning, I'm coming back to this again because this is the survey results that we had. We focused on making sure that inspiration, growth, team satisfaction, and your own personal satisfaction as a leader are the top factors that we had identified. And these are also the top topics that we want to get across in this series. Yeah, and that's it. Once again, here is the link, pmprepcast.com/academy, pmprepcast.com/leadership. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I am so happy about the launch of the Leadership Academy. This is going to be a great program for everybody out there who wants to improve their leadership skills and do it in a less traditional way and really, start a rocket and get your leadership off the ground very quickly. Thank you again. Until next time, everybody.